to start. And it became very clear to us that if you're starting a company in India, then you have to start a company that has a positive bottom of the
systems. So urgency is our moral obligation. And I'm very happy to see
mode so that everyone is comfortable throughout the session. Okay, I'm Shruti Karadia, your host for the day. And on behalf of JSW and Times of India, I welcome you all to the third outreach event under the ambit of the 12th edition of the Earth Care Awards. Introduced in 2008, the JSW, the Times of India Earth Care Awards, is a pivotal platform for the recognition of visionaries and innovators who are responding to the adversities of climate change. JSW and the Times of India have developed the awards into a prominent forum for recognizing green innovations from industries, government bodies, non-governmental organizations, and individuals. Now, the 12th edition of the awards is set to highlight even more impactful, scalable, and innovative solutions that are responding to the challenges posed by climate change. In our college partners, India Climate Collaborative and the Council on Energy, Environment and Water, CEEW, and Energy Swaraj Foundation and Earth Day Network as our outreach partners. With this brief introduction about the awards, I once again welcome you all to the third of the series of panel discussion on emerging businesses in climate action leading the charge for a sustainable future. Today, we will spotlight emerging businesses that have chosen out-of-the-box thinking as their guiding principle, focusing on how they are driving change. We will explore how these innovative enterprises are reshaping sectors with bold ideas and sustainable solutions, driving the transition towards a low-carbon economy. And now, to commence with the day's proceedings, I would like to invite Rupa Davane, Head, Water, Environment and Sanitation, JSW, to deliver the welcome address and to set the tone for the day. A round of applause, please, for the beautiful Rupa Davane.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here today, and this city really gets you ticking. And the topic, the focus today is going to be emerging businesses in the climate change space. To just give you a little bit of background of Earth Care Awards, as she rightly pointed out, we began in 2008 with that was the time I think people were not even talking about climate change. So that people have been applying over a period of time, and for basically finding these out-of-the-box thinkers, people who have been doing exemplary work in the climate change space, what makes ECA Earth Care Awards stand out from the rest of the awards is that we do on-ground assessment beyond all the information that is given. So that has something that's been kept us going. Like we said, introduced in 2008, the awards have only evolved over a period of time. Our categories have changed. We've been blessed with some great jury members. All the inputs that have been coming from the applicants, the participants in these over the period has moved us from shoulder to shoulder. It's been really a learning journey. We've had, in the past 11 editions, we've had over 2,300 applications in various categories, and we've had 87 winners. As we go ahead, I think we are going to have one of our past winners also to speak to us. These are our categories that has, like I said, evolved over a period of time. Community-based climate action, I think it remains very close to our heart. This is on-ground, absolute grassroots level action that happens through various NGOs, CBOs, etc. Enablers for a urban-centered climate action, again, this is an evolving category. We've had, one of the outreach programs we had in Indore. I mean, Indore as a city, all of us know, has been, surpassing in the waste management space. They've been there, the cleanest city for the last 7 times, 8th time also there. That's what the commissioner told us. They're obviously vying. There's nobody else who's coming closer to them. Various initiatives are being taken in the urban space. Emerging businesses, now this is where we are today, looking really forward to what comes up from this category. All our jury members in the past have been talking about this space where you have youngsters, you have younger minds, younger youth coming in, lot of activity happening in the startup space, as we may say, at different stages. Hence, we are here, Bangalore being the city. Which other city better to have this outreach program than Bangalore. And of course, Green Business Titan, that was a nomination base that we started last year. For the first time, Mr. Nadir Godrej was our first recipient. So we were very blessed to be in Mumbai and he was there. So I don't need to speak about the Godrej group and what they've been doing for climate change or environmental sustenance for that matter. Women in the leaders in the climate action space, this is again extremely important. I was just speaking to Naga and he was telling me that they have these various programs that I think IIMs and other spaces where women specifically doing, and all of us know when there's climate change and the vagaries, the first group, the most vulnerable group is the women and children section. So this again has emerged as very, very interesting. We've learned so much over the years. And Young Climate Champions program, this again is a very special category we are introducing this year. That program is trying to, target youth, which will be probably our future startup space or the entrepreneurs as we move ahead. The youth, the startup space and the youth that we are talking about, we are aiming at recognizing these forward-looking enterprises, what are they doing, different spaces. A lot of them have been applying last year in the innovative space, etc., because we didn't have that category as such. Hence this whole idea, what are the various things that are happening, how can you actually identify them? Various enterprises at different levels of maturity, whether it can be really a startup or they've moved up. And Dr. Mashadkar being our jury, he is extremely interested in what is happening in that space, always looking at the various nations, newer things happening, how can we awarding them. Jury members, extremely, were stalwarts in their spaces. I don't think I need to give any introduction about any of them. Priyasha, of course, we invited her this year itself, this edition, especially looking at the startup space. They are one of the venture capitalists, so they are the people who are looking at more and more interesting ideas which can be then incubated and move ahead. Our knowledge partners, as she rightly pointed out, TTC, we have Ajay Pandey, who the whole team gives us great solid support when it comes. These are our outreach partners. Earth Day organization, we are working, it'll be our first year with them. Energy Swaraj, again, Professor Chetan Singh Solanki doing great work. We have CEW, needless to say, and India Climate Collaborative. That's a Tata Trust startup, an initiative, if you all know. These have been some of our past winners, very, very interesting. In the urban space also, just to give you a background, Kochi International Airport was one of the first airports that went totally renewable for their entire operations, and they were one of our past winners. We have illustrious many, many more to come. These are just to name a few. Nidhi Pant is one of our last year's, a year before that, our past winners. And we're very happy to say that she won the Earthshot Prize last year. So which was really very, very, heartening. And that just goes to prove what Earthcare Awards has been doing and the kind of recognition it gets. Nikki Jha is again one of our earlier winners. We've invited him today to speak to you all and give his experiences. As we move ahead, like I said, climate change champions to protect our, this is a newer category, newer thing that we are talking about. We'll have college outreach programs in 10 cities to begin with. We look at, especially for example, there are some environmental networks, startups, how we actually encourage them. I was talking to the IHS team and they were telling me they also have something in this space. Let's see how we can move ahead, where this space takes us. Under this program, we're talking about connecting with college children, college kids, I call them children, college youth, and what are their space, since they are our future. We are really wanting to have them participate and see how we can move ahead, encourage the idea, can we incubate some of the ideas, do they need any help? Let's see what emerges from here. These are some of the for the space, specifically the youth, this is what we are looking at. Maybe circular economy, I think a lot is being said in the waste management space. Climate action and resilience, again, what else can be done? Biodiversity conservation is close to my heart because somehow my whole journey in the environment conservation space started with wildlife as one of the areas. Sustainable urban development, again, many ideas coming up. I think professors would know what else is happening in the youth space. Water conservation and life mission, all of us know about it. These are our social media handles. So when we talk about outreach, I was just talking, somebody told me that since it's the 12th year, we didn't know about this program. So, we would definitely want more and more people to even know about it, what's happening in this space. And let's hope to make Earth Care Awards as one of the most coveted awards, sought after awards. So currently our application phase is on. We are calling people to apply for the awards. And let's see where this takes us from. Thank you so much, and waiting to hear from all the illustrious people that we have today. Really, really looking forward to the session. Thank you. Ajay, over to you. Come.
Thank you, Rupa, for setting the context for today's event. It is www.earthcareawards.com. You can also follow us on our Instagram handles, our Facebook handles, our Twitter, and our LinkedIn handles with the handle name Earth Care Awards. We also have a lot of interesting projects and initiatives and stories that we post on our website. Please do follow them on our online handles as well. It's amazing to see how the Earth Care Awards have 11 successful editions, supporting emerging businesses and giving them a platform with the right visibility and encouragement. Ajay Pandey, the founder director of Think Through Consulting Private Limited. As a sustainable development professional, Ajay has built expertise in the domains of natural resource management, climate change, mitigation and adaptation, sustainable livelihoods, and social entrepreneurship. Could we please have a round of applause for Ajay Pandey as we invite him on the stage? Good morning, Ajay. And now, to introduce our panelists. Our first panelist is Nagaraja Prakasan, in-resident mentor, IIM Bangalore, co-founder and chairman, Native Land. A few words about sir, if I may please. An author, an angel investor, mentor, a fund advisor. Naga, as he is also called, is a versatile and a passionate leader with 3 decades of global experience, a decade in USA and the rest in India. Retired at 41, enjoys as a farmer growing startups across the country. Being a lead angel investor, invested in 31 startups in 65 plus rounds, led 16 deals in which Uni4 became a unicorn with 120x return, served 12 boards, has 8 exits and 2 write-offs. He is the author of Back to Bharat, in search of a sustainable future that addresses the present economic dilemma for Indian entrepreneurs and consumers looking at the past and present situation of both India and the developed world to find a way forward. He spearheaded impact thinking in the Indian Angel Network and co-founded IAN Impact. His personal mantra, quote, "Startups should focus on India's strength. That's people, problems, and tech PPT." A round of applause, please, for Naga, Mr. Nagaraja Prakasan. Our next panelist, before we invite her on stage, a few words about her. We have Sucharita S. Ishwar, founder, Catalyst for Women Entrepreneurship India, CWE. Sucharita has promoted and mentored many women. She is the Indian ambassador for 50 in Tech, a program to create 50 successful women-led global tech entrepreneurs. Prior to this, she headed We Connect International in India, a US-based organization that connects women-owned businesses to market opportunities with transnational corporations. A round of applause, please, for Sucharita S. Ishwar as we invite her on stage. Our next panelist is Dr. Amir Bazaz, Head Infrastructure and Climate Practice, Indian Institute for Human Settlements, IIHS. With nearly 25 years of professional experience, his expertise spans multiple engineering roles as a climate and energy policy researcher and practitioner. Amir holds a PhD in management from IIM Ahmedabad. A round of applause, please, for Mr. Amir Bazaz as he joins us on stage as well. The next panelist is Ashish Singh, co-founder and chief business officer, Clareco. He has more than 18 plus years of professional experience in banking, mobile application, LED lighting, IoT, and climate tech. He also co-founded Sensible Intelligence, a workspace IoT company, which was later acquired by Clareco. A round of applause, please, for Ashish Singh. I'd also like to introduce the next panelist. We have with us Madhav Chikana, founder, MINUSCO. Committed to circular and green economy, Madhav is recognized as one of the top 100 global leaders in 2023 for combining profit and purpose to help achieve UN goals. At MINUSCO, they produce biodegradable and recyclable biocomposite materials based on crop residue and fast renewables. These products reduces carbon footprints, conserve resources, and encourage circular bioeconomy. A round of applause, please. And our last panelist for today, we have with us Rahul Lamba, co-founder, The Energy Company. Now a co-founder of The Energy Company, he previously worked at Mycelio Electric Vehicles as a Mycelio Electric Vehicles senior engineer. He also attended the National Institute of Technology, Kurukshetra. A round of applause, please, for Mr. Lamba. All right. Now that we have all our panelists and Mr. Ajay as well on stage, so here's us looking forward to an exciting panel discussion. Over to you, Ajay.
Thank you so much. And what a panel we have today. This is amazing panel. We have got experience, we have got exuberance, we have young innovators and startups. So, a round of applause. And I'm really very in presence of all of them, so we have a lot to learn. The topic today is emerging business in climate action, leading the charge for sustainable future. Now this is a very apt topic. The way business, my son was last year in class 10 and he was studying history, how Europe started with Industrial Revolution, and how it transformed everything. Today we are looking at data that says, the GHG emission was less than 200 when the Industrial Revolution started. And today we have crossed all the threshold, and now we are trying to bring it down, talk about net zero, talk about climate action. So the model that took more than 300, 400 years, we are now suddenly tasked to reduce everything, undo everything, and still grow, and we don't have time. We are almost 20, 30 years if we go by NDC and net zero commitments, what we have to achieve globally. And then, when we look at India, when did India actually started? We are just starting. So we are just starting, and there is already so many different aspects which are there. So the businesses of today, when the young, the innovators, given the kind of where we have come from, it really brings a lot of opportunities. Along with opportunities, it brings a lot of challenges. And that is what we are going to discuss today. So we'll be speaking about innovation. We'll be speaking about how do we scale. There's a lot of models, but are those really scalable? Because for a country like India, we really need models which can be taken from ground zero and scaled up to at least if not the whole country, at least certain region. We will talk about technology and the role it plays. We'll talk about collaboration, and we'll talk about collaborations not just within public sector, private sector, government, but within industries. How it plays, because that is something which is going to play a big role in emerging. And overall, we are here to see at least if we can get some thoughts around what the roadmap should look like. How do we proceed from here? We have around an hour and 15 minutes left within this panel. The way I would like to moderate today's panel, with all humility, because everyone here are stalwarts in their own domain. So I would like to invite each of our panelists to speak about themselves and the role that they are playing within this ecosystem towards sustainability, towards climate action, and talk about the initiatives or give a couple of examples. We will have a maximum of 5 minutes for that. And then once we have done that, we will get to, I have made some questions for each one of you. So I'm going to pose those questions. I hope those questions are not going to be very difficult. But I was telling someone that there are two types of question. One question is for which everyone has answers. And there are questions for which no one has answers. So we'll see what kind of questions we will get to. And then, most importantly, we'll have questions from audiences. And then if time permits, we'll go for a second round of questions, or we'll do a closing remark. So that is how this panel will work. So I will not waste any further time. I'll start with Naga. And Naga, I'm going to give you more time, not just 5 minutes. Please take more time. But, you just heard the introduction that she gave. And even hearing or reading about his introduction, it gives me goosebumps that at age of 41, you decide to retire, and then you become a farmer for entrepreneurs. There is something really, either something really wrong with him, or there is something really that we don't have, right? So very, very excited to hear from him. Naga, over to you.
Hey, thanks. So yeah, that's why I wrote the book, to how crazy I am to understand. But the word Bharat have nothing to do with this, what's going on, right? So, and I'm getting a lot of wrong calls, right? Are you joining? I'm not joining anything. So 0.4 billion, the 400 million. So we ignored the billion. So that's what I call Bharat. And can that Bharat give a solution to this world's two problems today we all have? It's about climate change and inequality, right? These are the major ones. Everybody has it, not only the developing, even developed countries are having. US is saying that 16% of their people are in poverty now, right? Acumen Fund that I'm part of, the fund was started to invest in impact ventures in developing countries. We did 15 years back. This fund made our first investment in US, right? So that's a little crazy. So this is where about the problem is, everywhere. So at least it's a good news that right now the problems of the world is equal for everyone. So their problem is the same as our problem. So that's the good news. So that good news is also another part, this element is about, you all know about Elon Musk, yeah? And he's making $1 billion selling carbon credit every year. So then, can we start looking at the parallel in India? So that means that what I'm wearing is this handloom. We have 9 million weavers in the country. So they're making sustainable fashion. So what can we do for them, right? So that's what I was in, Kolkata last week, and we have one startup we are supporting. So this startup is trying to figure out that why only Elon Musk makes carbon credit, why not our weavers? So he's put a device in every loom, and then from the geolocation, it'll tell you that it's a jamdani made in Kolkata, or it is, made in Assam, whatever the local collection is. So I just forgot to bring the shawl. The shawl, he's given a QR code. The QR code is woven into the fabric. You scan it, it'll tell you who made it, which place, what is the properties of this cloth you're wearing. Plus, now we are calculating carbon. So we are going to give that how many movements she's making from bigger device attached to the loom. So that now we'll get a carbon credit to the weaver's hand. So Northeast Handloom, yeah, thank you. So Northeast Handloom Commission bought 6,000 devices, gave away to the weavers in Northeast. So this is about how we can take the problem head on instead of whining, saying that give me next 40 years, let me reach your level, then we figure out what to do with the earth may not be there, right? So that's why you look at all the guys in Hollywood talking about Interstellar and Wall-E. You go to find a moon in Jupiter and live there or find a Mars. So ditch Earth, right? Nobody interested in fixing Earth. So these people, these weavers, right? Same way I was staying in the place called East Garo Hills in Meghalaya. So this village is kind of practicing matriarchal society for thousands of years, right? So where a boy get married into the women's house. So, and we are talking about one of the SDG goals of women empowerment. They are the tribals following that for thousands of years. They are teaching us what women empowerment is, right? So the head of the village is a woman, and she runs the place. And they are also follow the Zoom cultivation that every area, they just pick up one area and for cultivation and agriculture. Once it's done, after a few years, the land left fallow and then go to the other part. And this is called regenerative agriculture that we are talking about today. So this is all done by the people who've been there, doing that for thousands of years. So that's the other part. Bharat is giving solutions to the world's problem today. So this is the second part, is about how we can leverage. If you see the house, the person living in East Garo Hills, thatched roof house, and very simple life, they don't have as many furniture there. So I was just telling them in Meghalaya that you calculate the carbon for him. My carbon, your carbon, somebody living in New York and London, he's rich because he's the most sustainable person, because we are all fixers. We are all fixing the climate change problem. He's preventing climate change, right? Today, the world is not celebrating the preventers of climate change. We call them stupid, right? So my daughter go to like Himalayas 2 weeks, hiking, stay in a camp, tent, no electricity, no toilets. So we say awesome, right? But this person living there for 365 days, we call them stupid, right? So what kind of development is? You come, probably just chant for the whole year, and then 1 week you do detox, all these stuff, you go to a hills. So that you are smart, right? You're a developed person. But somebody living there 365 days, we call them wrong. You got to come out, build it out. So there is that area is completely looked out, that we are missing the point about the preventers. We are not celebrating the preventers. We are only celebrating the fixers. Fixer is who? Somebody created the problem and went away. The waste management, everybody talk about, right? The person, somebody created the waste problem and he's gone, right? But someone set of another entrepreneurs coming and fixing his problem. We calling them, we are celebrating them. So we're not going and punishing the person who first of all created the problem. So this is the other part, is about preventer and fixer. The other element is about today. It's another great news is about US GDP is around 6 times more than India. Their per capita emission is 6 times more than India. If carbon is new gold, who is rich? So this is the other part that we need. That's why this elements of giving credit to my weaver, organic farmer, tribals, we were able to tell the story that, okay, these are all the preventers, you need to reward them for somebody's creating penalized. So how Elon Musk make $1 billion a year? General Motors in Europe cannot meet the emission standards. So they buy carbon credit from Elon Musk. So that means that the problem creators not fined by the government. They're penalizing. So what is the penalty? You pay the penalty fees to the guy who's doing good. That is an amazing system. Finally, world caught on. Doing good is getting celebrated. So that's an opportunity that we have all. So like this, there are thousands of activities happening across the country, and there is a lot of local wisdom is also happening. In Bangalore, I'll give one example. Sahas, you would know. So that's one of my investors, I sit in the board. This entire Koramangala waste is managed in a plant built by Carbon Master, my another investment. This plant is funded by Carbon. Right? There is a US company funded the plant. We built the plant in Koramangala. The Sahas, the NGO, bring the waste from Koramangala to this plant. It's converted to CBG, right? Compressed biogas, and organic fertilizers go to the farmers in Kolar. So the waste does not leave this place at all. And the Empire restaurant, we just pipe the gas to the Empire restaurant. But this is CBG, compressed biogas. Biogas is a 100-year-old technology. 80% of India's biogas is a flop because we didn't understand about the efficiency of it. So there's a technology developed in IIT Bombay. So we use the technology in Koramangala to scrub the gas So the resultant gas is better than methane, content-wise. So now he's saving, the Empire is saving 50% over the LPG gas using our gas from the waste in Koramangala. So this is an amazing example. So the German government awarded the local MP of that ward, and then the startup and the Resident Welfare Association. All the three went to Germany to receive an award. How a government, citizen, startup came together and solving a local problem. So these are all this, we can go on about talking about major stuff. That's why I just wrote this book about, there are all these happening across the country, right? Whether it is Jharkhand, whether it is Chhattisgarh, so that amazing entrepreneurs are solving local problems, as well as that, taking that forward. That's why we started this Native Lead Foundation. We said that only 400 million speaks English. The 1 billion do not. Does not mean they don't have great ideas. We said no English, no PowerPoint. In Tamil Nadu, we started a foundation. We said, you have an idea and drive, we will support you. We'll provide mentoring, funding. Local problem, local solution, local investors. So that's what we have done in Native Lead. I have in tier 5 towns in Tamil Nadu. We have angel investors investing in the startups. One example, a guy never went to school in Trichy. So this person has been growing this backyard poultry that we all had back then. So he started, looking at the standards in Europe about free-range poultry. So you take the one-day chicken, give it to the farmer, and buy the egg at 8 rupees. Today is the most expensive egg in the country. One egg is 24 rupees. Wow. And he feeds Ayurveda herbals. So how he finds out this? He was feeding the Ayurveda herbals to the chicken. He found the yolk was orange color. So he sent it to Indian Staff Science. The guy from Tiruchi never went to school, sent his egg to Indian Staff Science, say, what is in my egg? So they told, it has a beta carotene, what is there in carrot? So it's 4 times more nutrition than your ordinary egg. So we supported in Native Lead, and this guy never went to school. He's wheelchair bound. His head moves, hand moves, nothing else moves. So this is about an ability of an entrepreneur, and every part of the country is there. We identify the drive. So last year he got India's first humane certified certification from US. So he got a call from Google. So he was wondering why would Google is calling, because the Humane International in US told Google that he's the only guy in India got a humane certified egg. So you should buy. So they want for Google employees, they have a policy to buy humane certified eggs. Nobody produced that in India. The guy never went to school is producing. It is just freely done, no antibiotics, healthy food is what's created. So like this, there are innovations from technology related, there are entrepreneurs across the country. We never went to school, they're all possessed with a lot of wisdom. So these are all the answers to the climate change and inequality problem. So we'll just stop here and we discuss more question and answer.
Thank you, Nagar. Thank you. And I'm really looking forward to read that. Yeah. Sucharita, over to you. Just share some insights. You have been working with women entrepreneurs, and the more closer you get to nature, women are in charge. The further you move away from nature, we see, women losing control. I mean, that's, yeah. So, if you can share some insights on your journey throughout, and how you have seen women entrepreneurs looking at solving these issues of climate action through entrepreneurial ventures.
I'd first like to congratulate JSW and Times of India for taking up this theme, which is so timely, so necessary, so urgent. So thank you for taking that up. I have been working throughout my career in different ways with women. Started with advertising and the media, then I went into development, worked with women at different sections of society, then went into technology. I joined an IT startup. And at NASSCOM, one of the things which I'm very proud of was we started the Diversity and Inclusion Initiative to bring women into the technology sector and grow them, retain them and grow them to leadership positions. And through all these years, and it's been decades, what I realized was that women are 50% of the population. They are really the backbone. I think both of you have emphasized that. And they are not engaged optimally in the economy, in the development of the nation, of society, in the way that they are truly capable of. So, and one of the things is financial autonomy. Unless a woman has the freedom to decide what she wants to do with her life and what she wants to do with the time that she has, it's very difficult for her to really move forward, because she is being told, your job is this, you have to look after family, your in-laws, etc. So that's what got me into starting what I run now. It's called the Catalyst for Women Entrepreneurship. And it's to enable women to firstly decide what they want to do with their lives, and then enable them. So helping them to start up an enterprise and then scale it up. And what we find is that women have amazing ideas if they have the space to be allowed to think. And today, as we speak here, I think we all know women have traditionally been the protectors of the environment. They have, you know, the traditional things that they're very close to nature. They have always preserved water, the earth, celebrating and celebrating trees, for example. They have traditionally done things like using old saris, old tablecloths, etc., to make bed covers, kathas. The katha embroidery comes from that. Those of you who are familiar with Bengal, I'm from Bengal, so I know this. Paper is recycled in so many different ways. So I think all of us do remember our mothers, our grandmothers in doing these kind of things. And today what we find is that women are still in touch with that tradition, but bringing in new ways and innovative ways to be able to do it, to scale it, and to make it relevant for contemporary consumers. So I'm not going to, we have 4,700 women entrepreneurs on our platform, and they are across all industry sectors. But I'll just give maybe one or two examples. One of my ex-colleagues from IT, she has created, and over the last 10 years, Radix Life Sciences. I don't know if you've heard of it. And she's based right here in Bangalore, that's where she started, to take vegetable and other waste and create it into green energy. And today she is able to feed it into the main electricity pipeline. So from Bangalore, she has gone to many other places. She is recognized by the United Nations for the very innovative technology that she has brought in. We have another entrepreneur who has created, we all need shopping bags and people are taking cloth bags, but she has an embedded technology which tracks what is the carbon saving every time that bag is used. So, I'm just giving two random examples. Women are doing amazing stuff. But I think what is required is connects. So they are doing their own thing wherever they are, in a small town, in a city, in a village, but becoming aware of how ways of scaling up is possible, what technology can be brought in, What are the tools available? You know, somebody spoke about Google. I mean, there are so many who are really have created tools which can enable them. So making those connects is very crucial. It's also crucial for investors, mentors like Naga, to be able to reach out to them and identify them and see how to help them to grow and to scale. I think that is a gap which is there, which really needs to be filled. And, you know, having spoken about women so much, the last thing I want to say, there is still a lot of skepticism and hesitation on the part of corporates, of investors, where women are concerned. That, you know, how serious are they? Are they cut out for business? Will they be able to grow? So all these kind of cultural prejudices still persist. And this is a gap also that we need to break through. I'll just, in defense of that, quote your story, which does a study every year about VC investment that has gone into startups in India. And for the last 2 years, they have reported only 1% of VC funding has gone to women-owned and women-led startups. So that tells us a story which we need to do something about. I'll stop here. I'm sure there's lots to talk about.
Yes. No. Thank you. And the last example that you gave, Sucharita, only 1%. I'll come back to you, and we'll discuss, you know, what are the options, where is the opportunity, or what we can do about it. So, Amir, over to you. Some opening remarks.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me here, and also many congratulations to JSW and Times of India for doing this. Much before than, it started much before than people woke up and started thinking about this. So, well done, and all my best wishes. I think one of, I'll pick up some elements from Naga and build on it. When you start hitting 50, you're really very concerned about your legacy. And over the last 4 or 5 years, I have been also grappling with the same existential crisis. And I think, and I've thought a lot about it. What should I do? What should I do? And I really think very, very carefully, and that's what my be-all and end-all at this moment is, about education. And my starting point is that we should not end up confusing skill with education. And skill is something different, education is something different. And that's what I'm trying to do. So apart from doing a range of other things, like doing research, doing implementation, writing about policy, I consider now myself to be an educator and try and work with people and think about problem solving, think about problem conceptualization. And one of the ways that I have broadly figured out is that how to do this is to locate yourself, as Naga was also talking about, 3 things. Locate yourself in the problem, A. B. Leverage all what you can in terms of community power, as Sucharita was also saying, and institutionalize it. And what Naga is doing, institutionalizing it through creating these institutions. And I think that's very important. And what I am trying to do as an educator is bringing and figuring out, writing about all this that is happening and trying to bring this into classrooms. And that is the big gap that I see in, so all this wonderful work will never be discussed in the classroom. this is what we need. This knowledge is what we need. Skills can be picked up. You can do a short course and learn to solve equations. Doesn't matter. If we go back to the fundamentals of how we define education, it's about what Naga was also talking about, empathy, value. Can we imagine what a small child will be going through when cyclone hits the East Coast and you are about to write your board exams and the schools are used for cyclone shelter? This imaginative power can only come through education, and that's what I'm trying to do, apart from a range of other things that I work on. Happy to talk about that, but I'll stop here. Thank you.
Thank you. Amir, that was insightful, and education, if we'll come and talk about energy transition, and in that also, when we are looking at 2070, which none of us are going to hopefully witness, how we leave the next generation the kind of education that we give them to prepare them for what is to come. So we'll come back to that. Ashish, and I think the next three gentlemen, all of them have been working on through their startups, bringing in solutions to problems which we are facing. So really looking forward to hear what you are doing and how your solution is fitting into the roadmap for sustainable future.
Thank you, Anil. Hi, my name is Ashish. First of all, I would like to thank GSW and Times of India for having me here. I feel like David between the Goliaths of sustainability, but it's an esteemed panel and it's a privilege to be here. Thank you once again. I'm the co-founder and chief business officer of a company called Clairco. Clairco is a short form for Clean Energy Company. That's how we started it. When we started Clairco, the whole idea was we wanted to understand how the air quality is inside indoor spaces in buildings, and what do we do about it? How do we make sure that it's cleaner for people and for the wellness of people who are inside the building? And we started doing that, and we were measuring, and we figured out some of the buildings where I would say carbon boxes. It was very high. The carbon CO2 inside the buildings were pretty high, beyond a level that is not recommended. I was just talking to somebody a couple of days back, the MD of a very large company in Mumbai, beautiful office, beautiful glass office and everything. And when we measured the CO2 level inside the office, it was 2000. Now, 2000 is a crazy level of CO2. It means the people who are working in this environment have at least lost 30-40% of their ability to think creatively. They feel more lazy, lethargic, and over the period of time, it can develop into complications. I don't want to scare people, but that's what research says. And he has no clue what to do. So that's when we came and we said, okay, we will use technology, IoT technology, and we'll figure out how do we remove the CO2 from these spaces. We went on doing that, and we did it pretty well across India. A lot of large spaces we have done that. But then we realized, okay, this is just we're removing CO2 from one places to another. But how about reducing it? Or how about making sure that it doesn't get generated so much? What do we do about it? And that's when we realized in these buildings that we are talking, the energy consumptions are very high. So this is one place where we thought if we could, at the initial stage, go and reduce the usage of energy, we would be able to help them to cut down on the carbon emissions. Rather than later trying to remove it from here and there, move it, doesn't really help much. That's when we came up with our energy efficiency solution. We said, okay, we are anyways using IoT. We will put it into buildings. We will try to understand how the energy is being utilized. In that, we understood 40 to 50% of the energy in a building is the HVAC. Rest all very little lighting, very little of your electronic devices, but 40 to 50% is the HVAC, is the air conditioning. And logically, you use air conditioning wherever people are. We have air conditioning in this room because all of us are sitting. If none of us are here, why would you push so much of air conditioning into the space? But what we realize in buildings are, air conditioning is used to cool places where people are not even there. So we thought, okay, let us focus on using energy where people are and reducing it where people are not there. That's the ideology with which we started off. We put sensors, we identify where people are moving in a building, and then we control the HVAC and give a saving to our clients. So today we have done it at large malls in Bangalore, NCR, in Mumbai. We have done a lot of IT parks across Bangalore. I mean, this is an IT place. It's famous for that. It's in hub of IT center. But we have done in hospitals, we have done in schools and colleges which have an air conditioning environment, because we believe children, for them it's very, very important that we give them a safe environment, to study. And if this environment are pumped in with CO2, you can imagine what happens to their cognitive ability, when they are working in such a dangerous environment, I would say that. So this is how we are moving ahead with clean air and now moving to energy efficiency, trying to use technology. We're trying to bridge the gap between technology and sustainability. This is what people say, technology is very expensive, when we want to make it sustainable. We want to break that myth, and try to overcome with a lot of, I would say, innovative schemes. Like we are the only company in India which offers a zero capex model, where we tell our clients, you don't have to invest anything. We are going to invest in energy saving. When you save energy, we're going to take a part of that savings along with us. So you don't have to invest anything. If I don't give you a saving, you don't lose anything. I'm the one losing the money because I'm funding it. I only take the money when I save. I take a percentage of that saving. So we were very confident that we would be able to do it. We have that kind of technology. We had that kind of an amazing team. We were lucky to get people who were ready to try it out, and today we are implementing this across India. It's a very initial stage, I think, but yeah, it should be a game changer. So I think we are trying to do whatever we can a little bit to support sustainability initiatives into this space with the technology that we have. Once again, thank you very much for having me here. I look forward to hearing from others as well. Thank you.
And Ashish, please apply. The category is open.
Yeah. Good morning, Mahadev here. I'm the founder and CEO of Minusco and also Iha.eco. With about 15 years experience in IT industry, it was more of a calling for me to quit and start something more in the space of sustainability. Back in 2015, it is all about reducing carbon emission, helping companies reduce carbon emission with alternative materials. After about, let's say, 6-7 years of learning, unlearning, many cycles of learning and unlearning, I would say, the fundamentals have not changed, but the thought process has completely changed in terms of what I understood as a consumer, what sustainability is versus what I currently understand, what truly sustainability means, right? We've taken quite a lot of steps to kind of bridge this gap and create awareness. One of such steps was about 6 years ago. We built a blockchain-based traceability solution that traced source of products, carbon footprint, cradle to grave, bio content, renewable content, everything that could be shared along with products, and we made sure that every material product that we supply should go with this information, right? We thought that's valuable. Unfortunately, the question of what is valuable to companies and consumers itself was a transformation for us. Then we developed biomaterials out of agricultural waste sourced from either farm, factories, or forests. Understood that just making materials is not sufficient, because in circular economy, waste is produced in one end, and then it gets through a series of transformation, and finally it gets dumped somewhere else, basically. Unless we work with stakeholders across the value chain, it's impossible for us to truly realize a circular economy. So we ended up creating a platform, what we call it as biocomposite platform, where we have stakeholders who collect waste, convert them into a semi-finished form. We collect agricultural waste, we convert them into materials. We have processors who convert this waste into finished products, and then we have channel partners who supply them and take it to different markets as well. In 2020, we started our first factory in Bidadi. But then we were hit with COVID. We thought initially we'll make materials and then all the big brands will then start using them. But with COVID, the realities changed. So we were one of the first ones to introduce face shields. that which would kind of ensure the COVID warriors to be safe while they're at their work. And we put our biocomposite materials to use in making those face shields. That's when we realized the potential of this material beyond industrial application, that it can go to consumer use as well. Otherwise, coming from IT background, I had no understanding of what consumer market is, to be honest. Post-COVID, we introduced eHA.eco. Today, we have more than 1,000 products that we retail across different digital channels. And with every product, we share QR code for the last 2.5, 3 years that not only tells the story of the product, it tells the same carbon footprint, cradle to gate, cradle to grave, creates awareness because not many people understand what is cradle to gate and what is its importance, how much bio content it has. And we've gone a step further in sharing the safety information of the products as well, right? So whatever we have developed in the last 10 years, we've tried to put to use through eHA.eco, and that's been really, really successful. And that's really thanks to the growing, emerging consumer, in the emerging markets, especially in India. We've also understood that just sending QR code will not create awareness. So when we created our office about 3 years ago, we converted about 50% of our workplace into what we call as Temple of Sustainability. So you walk into the space, we explain what is waste to value hierarchy or pyramid, what is waste hierarchy, what should be composted, what should be landfilled. Ideally, nothing should be landfill, but worst case scenario, what should be landfill, and importance of landfill also. And more than 1,000 types of materials, application from, let's say, cars to cutlery, that one can come and understand the importance and significance. So proud to say that many of them come to visit our facility hoping to spend half an hour, 1 hour, and there have been instances people canceling their flights and staying over to spend the extra day, understanding a lot more in depth. So I'm here to share whatever little possible. I know the time is running short. Thank you so much for giving opportunity.
Thank you, Mahadev. Okay. Yeah, Rahul, over to you.
Yeah. So hi everyone, good morning. So firstly, thanks for inviting me. I think it's also a learning for me to learn from all the other panelists in this discussion. Just to give a brief about what we do as an organization. So maybe I'll start with a question. How many over here own an electric vehicle? We all say electric vehicle is sustainable, clean, but only 1 or 2, like 2%. So what we are aiming, popular choice for transportation. And we are aiming that by solving it at the core problem, which is around batteries. So the way we design batteries, we make them last much longer. We solve for all the consumer challenges with respect to fast charging, life estimation, and while we are doing that, we make sure that they are also ready for a second life application. So the refurbishment cost and everything is reduced drastically through our efforts on the design side of it. Along with these physical hardware layer, we also have a life cycle management tool, something very similar to what Mahadev was mentioning. The idea over there is that we believe that the insights of how people are using their batteries is of profound importance to multiple stakeholders in the value chain, specifically say an asset financer or an insurance company. And what we have found out is that these are the guys who are ready to pay for these insights. And while they pay for these insights, the benefit for the end customer is that we also give them, I would say, prescriptive insights into how they can extend the life of their own batteries. So that's just a small, I would say, effort that we are doing from our side in order to make electric vehicles a lot more popular and make it sustainable for everyone. So that's on the mobility piece. The other side of it is something which is also I learned from the discussion. So I'll just quote 2 examples just to keep it short. So one is on the sustainability side. I also come from a small town in Haryana, Punjab border. So I've seen my mother reusing all the plastic, I would say leaflets or all plastic bags. And how do we use to make sure that all the other waste clothes are repurposed or reused from one place to another. And that's we believe that we have become more educated, but we have lost all those norms as we are moving to a bigger city. So that's just one small experience I had. And to the other side of it, what we are doing as an organization is that we are also trying to solve for energy storage, because we believe that everyone talks about that energy is accessible from a tier 1 mindset. But when we go to tier 2 cities or smaller towns, electricity availability is more of a privilege. It's not like a common thread. And that's what we are trying to solve for through our energy storage solutions. Yeah, so thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Rahul. See, all of you, most of you, Bharatvat Naga, you mentioned. I remember as growing up, going to hospital carrying a glass bottle for cough syrup. So they used to have those big vials of cough syrup, and then you carry your own glass bottle, and they will put a funnel and they will give you the bottle. When we used to travel with campers, 5 liter, 10 liter in train. Air conditioned coach used to be 1 or 2. Remaining were used to be sleeper. And no one has any complaints traveling in sleeper. And then this is about 90s. And then how we transformed. So, one of the things, keep thinking, we are blessed with that thinking hat. So 90s, and that is when all this discussion about climate and sustainability, triple bottom line, 89, 90, 91, then Kyoto Protocol, COP, all those discussions also started. And this was also the time when we have actually the kind of development model that we created was anti-climate, right? Plastics was pushed inside our home. Nobody was. We used to laugh at people who would carry mineral water. Usually people coming from abroad would carry mineral water with them, and we would laugh at them. And now we are carrying mineral waters. We have become them, and they are so. There is a lot of I would say confrontalist. My father, he was, when he looked, my wife brought this millet called kodo. I don't know, it's red fine grain ragi, right? And my father looked at it and said, "What are you going to do with this?" And I go, "No, this is, what PM is now promoting. This is millets. These are very healthy, and there is so many different things that you can make it." Well, my father said that I have grown up eating this, and we used to really, think of at least get something other than kodo. This, white rice. So we used to yearn for that, but this is what was available, and this was like dirt cheap. So now what we are selling in the name of sustainability are the things that was widely available, and now we are buying that from market at a premium. So sustainability is now coming with a premium attached to it, the price attached to it. And that price is working two ways. One, for the consumer, if you really want that, you have to pay much higher price. For the producer, if you are really getting into that, it is not profitable for them. So the question that I would like to ask, maybe Mahadev, you are working on sustainable products. Now, how do we, and even I spoke to a lot of big business people and their board of directors. See, the thing is, when you talk to the chief sustainability officer, they are talking about ESG, they are talking about everything. When you enter the boardroom, and not just in India, I went to Middle East, I was working with a client in Dubai. We went to the boardroom and we were talking about sustainability, and he said, "Okay, tell me, what is the total saving that it will have?" So the discussion he wanted to have was how much I am going to save. Everything else was inconsequential. So, just wanted to ask you, Mahadev, in doing all of this, the product that you're working on, looking at sustainability as a cost center versus sustainability as something which is really profitable in the long run. What is your take on that?
See, one undeniable truth is where there is value, there is sustained interest. Now it's important to understand what that value means, right? And for companies, irrespective of what business they're in, we've spoken to companies who are into impact investment. They are finally organization companies. For large corporates, very, very ethical, sustainable in their approach, in their practices. Finally, for business, cash is everything. Okay? whatever solution, whether it is sustainable, unsustainable, whatever the solution we are producing, providing, if the business does not see cash being generated, there is clearly no interest. I'm not talking about regulatory compliances and stuff. All that put aside, if business has to be interested, there has to be cash in the process. Cash can come from two ways. One is the sustainable solution should create opportunities, or it should cut cost in the supply chain, right? And we've seen both opportunities. Let me share a couple of examples, right? Initially, we thought the biomaterials, this whole carbon footprint reduction itself is value for companies, but completely proven wrong. Right? We've spoken to multiple companies across FMCG, automotive, and stuff. It starts with the innovation team, R&D team. By the time it comes to purchase team who needs to sign the check, it's out of the window. Okay? So there are a few examples, there are a few success areas. And unfortunately, in the space that we are operating, right, if you look at climate change, there is scope 1 carbon footprint reduction, scope 2, and scope 3. Many companies are mandated to reduce scope 1, scope 2 carbon footprint reduction, right? Even when companies are publishing that they'll become carbon neutral by so and so, most of them are talking about scope 1, scope 2. Scope 3 carbon footprint reduction is still not a mandate. There's a lot of challenges around that because it's nobody's problem, right? It's an inherited problem for everybody. It's a public property, right? And unfortunately or fortunately, we are only trying to address scope 3 carbon footprint reduction for companies. So it becomes even more a challenge. There are a few success stories. As an example, with one large mattress and furniture company, they had a problem of coir waste where they had to pay to discard the waste. So we collected the waste and we demonstrated that waste need not be cost-fed for them. We purchased waste from them and we made furniture components out of them, displacing plastic and wood at a price point lower than what they were actually purchasing them. So we created cash over there. We solved a problem of waste, created cash at also waste management and also the procurement that they were having. We didn't stop there. We further went on to create retail merchandisable products, which now became new revenue stream for them, which included tableware, furniture, home decor items, which they started to generate additional revenue. So we created opportunity to increase top line as well. So this is one example where it's been successful. And when we are talking about creating new opportunities, it's worked us directly engaging with business owners because they see value with that. If it is about cost center, reducing costs, then we have to be working at the operational level. Right? There are a few other examples, like one of the cafe chains, we've consumed their coffee husk waste, coffee ground from their cafes, convert them into merchandisable items that created additional revenue stream for them. There are a few other examples. So only examples where corporate engagements have been successful is where we have clearly demonstrated there is cash that we are able to generate for them. When it comes to consumer, right, it's completely different. Value for consumers it's very different. It's not money anymore, right? Somebody who is living hand to mouth, money is important for him, right? For him, cost is important. For him, durability of the product is important. But thankfully, and even emerging country like India, there is an increasing population with disposable income, which means most of their needs are taken care. And all that they are looking with every purchase or every interaction is some self-fulfillment. Right? And there is good amount of education and awareness that's been created that they feel they belong when they contribute to an environmental cause. Right? But it's very important that when we are providing an alternative, we are not compromising the performance of the product, so it should not be anything substandard to what they're already purchasing because that's not sustainable. It should be beautiful, looks good, conversation beginner, right? So they can have a sustainable conversation with their friends and family about the product and their experience. It should be safe, of course, and they are willing to pay that extra premium as far as it is aspirational premium, not a, let's say, celebrity premium, okay? And as a company, we've never believed in building solutions that are addressing 1% of the market. We really want to be mainstream. So our products today are anywhere comparable to the products that we are displacing or at the max about 15 to 20% higher.
Thanks.
Thanks.
No, good points. I'll go to Sucharita. Sucharita, I know you want to add something to what, how we are not able
I'll
to.
forget what I wanted to add to
Okay.
Mahadev. Can I
Okay.
just
Go
address
ahead.
that?
Go ahead.
I think when it comes to sustainable products, one of the key things is scale. And that is a key factor which has to be addressed first. Through policy, through investors, in many different ways. And also capacity building of the entrepreneur herself or himself. So that's one key thing. It's also linked to awareness building and education of the consumer. You touched upon that. The fact that something new is available, everyone's looking for something new. And in India, I do not think the consumer majorly is ready to pay more just because it's sustainable. That won't lead to a scale market. So policy, investment, capacity building of the producer, I think these are key factors which have to be looked into. And that's what I wanted to add to what you said.
And my question to you was to, poke you on the last point that you made, 1% of VC funding is for women entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Now, how do we, what are the solutions? What are the kind of, there are different factors. He can also talk about that, because from the other side, but from the side of the women entrepreneurs, why is this happening? Is it something which is a stereotyping? Is it something which is based on some statistical facts? Right? Why this is happening, that only 1%? Because we are seeing there is a lot of, I would say, it has not earth-shattering, groundbreaking, but we are seeing some trends which are emerging where women are getting there. But why in this? And this is data which I'm also, even women-owned businesses or women in the leadership, there are problems, right? Even banks are not giving loans to women entrepreneurs. So why is it that happening? But mostly, if you can 2-3 points, what are the solutions in your opinion?
Yeah. Firstly, I'd like to say that there's a lot of hype today about environment, sustainability, organic, all that. So, globally there is a lot of hype which is being put out. But
Why do you say hype?
Because it's not translating into action in terms of policy, in terms of investment. I'd like to hear Rupa ji, what is her experience. So I want to start by saying that. Now, when it comes to women, there is a lot of cultural factors, centuries of cultural conditioning at work. I mean, it's a stereotypical thing, but I have to say it. On both sides, on the side of the bankers and the investors, they don't think that women are cut out for business and don't think that they will be able to sustain, to be able to grow their business, and their money and investment is at stake. So the other side of it is women themselves are also products of cultural conditioning. So, and my own experience of working with women entrepreneurs is they are afraid to grow a business. When we started out in 2016, we did a study which was funded by Intel, Wellspun Corporation, and it was done by the research organization Athena Infonomics, and to figure out what's the ecosystem. Is there any difference between male and female entrepreneurs? So we interviewed 400 male and female entrepreneurs, and it clearly emerged that there were differences and challenges, special challenges women face. The first one is in access to finance. The second one is in access to markets. Women start off when they get their first order, And because they are running between business and home to look after family, they do not reach out. They do not become part of networks. That's the third thing. You know, all of you are part of professional bodies which help you to grow professionally and expand your business, your enterprise. Women are not part of networks, business and trade networks. They are not confident about their business skills. And so these were the challenges that emerged, that needed to be addressed, and that is what CWE does. So when, I'll just quote an anecdote, a VC shared with me that we just wanted to experiment. So there were two co-founders who came and pitched to us. So after they made their pitch, it was a male, one male co-founder, one female co-founder. So we took them to separate rooms and we asked each of them, what is the minimum investment you can work with? And he said, we were totally surprised. Can anybody guess what the surprise was? Rupal? The bottom line figure which the female co-founder gave was way below what the male co-founder gave. So that points to something, that women are afraid. In fact, the study also showed that 57% of them were always afraid of the fear of failure. That is behind in their heads all the time.
So it's a mindset. It's in the
yeah,
mindset.
it's a conditioning which we have to overcome.
Yeah.
Yes, I understand, we all have, but would it stop you from taking a working capital loan against a contract that you have in hand? That is what women often do. They are afraid to even go for a working capital loan.
That's about upbringing, I think. Until I started my venture, I had never taken a single loan, whether it is personal or business. That's how afraid I was about borrowing money. It's the responsibility of returning, right? But now we've moved on. 10 years, we've learned a lot. Business models are different. We can have a separate conversation.
I mean, I'll play the moderator here.
So, yeah. That's what it is. So, you know, educating women to overcome their mindsets, that's important. Also working with investors, policymakers to make them understand that women have enormous innovation, enormous capability to bring awesome products and services to the economy, and also policies to be able to support, you know, an idea. For example, we have an entrepreneur. I think one of you spoke about some waste, agricultural waste. The paddy waste which is being burnt in Punjab and everywhere, and creating pollution in Delhi and everywhere else. She has discovered a technology which converts it into a leather-like material. So she is buying that paddy waste from the farmers and processing it to create designer bags.
Wow. That's wonderful.
So, but you know, she has not been able to find the kind of investment that she needs, because it's still so new. How do we know this, that?
So with that, I'll come to you know, Naga. From an investor's side, you know, how do the investor think? And especially when it comes to, you know, so I'll ask you, when it comes to something which is really sustainable, innovative, but there is a big chance of failure, there is a high risk, and also, you know, for women entrepreneurs.
So the VC investment equity model, it's a different ball game. I mentioned in my book as well. The VC equity model is what I call as a Ponzi scheme, right? I mean, that is only two things they will look at. Is the scalability and the entrepreneurability, only two things. The company does not scale, the VC, the equity investors won't make money. So they're not going to fund it. That's one. Number two is the equity model is very new, right? We have 1.5 lakh startups registered. hardly 700 companies funded every year. There's no money in the country, right? Anybody who writing $10 million check plus, it's all coming from US. The US never had a women president yet. Let's hope what's happened now, right? So that's the kind of a mindset that money is coming from. Because in India, we have money, it's all going to gold and real estate. So the more investors coming in terms of writing a bigger checks, I think Chris is leading an effect at Infosys co-founder saying that every HNIs in India should put 1% of their wealth into startups. He has done 10%. So we need people like that coming forward, invest in a bigger chunk, so they will understand India's problems. Otherwise, what get funded is about selling idli and selling t-shirts and stuff. That's all popular in US, and some guy will copy and do it here. And you saw 85 e-commerce companies started during the e-commerce boom. Only one survived, all gone, right? So this is a trending stuff. I wouldn't probably pay too much attention about the equity model. Because in India, the majors coming job as well as everything coming from the SMEs. There are 10 million SMEs creating more jobs than all the corporates put together. That's where women play a major role. So in IIM Bangalore, we're running this women program last 17 years, 12 years. As a resident mentor, I've seen thousands of women entrepreneurs, right? The only one thing, that's why we started the program, the only one thing we impart to them is give them the confidence. That's the only thing I've seen, that giving them, they call me about, can I do this? Don't ask, do. We're just giving that only one element is confidence, that you can do it, go at it. An amazing kind of thing. There's one lady is running a company. If somebody's loved ones passed away or traveling overseas, she will help them bring the remains. That's her business. I said, how do you tell family what business you are in? She said, I don't care because this is a very important thing. I know the problem people go through. He's sitting at home, one phone call across the world, he will get things done. I said, like this, from my colleagues, millets to machine learning, right? We have incubated from 19-year-olds to 65-year-olds. There is enough kind of women entrepreneurs are doing amazing work. The only thing is confidence, one part. We are just inculcating that, that'll change. The second, we just finished the project with NRLM about first time we're doing Kannada program. The World Bank has trained 30 lakh women entrepreneurs in Karnataka alone villages. So we picked 40,000 and did a program, and the top 100, we were incubating laughter. The interacting with them, the drive, amount of drive they have is superb, amazing level there. All they need was that, that confident level. We brought them into the campus. They were also excited to be here and then see the learning. Now the program is over, they're still reaching out. Said, I want to scale, I want to do this. So this available. So the element is don't get carried away with the VC model, which is completely skewed in India, right? Because it's all driven by US money. Unless there is VCs coming up in India running $10 million, $20 million check, we're not going to invest in serious stuff. We just invest in trending stuff. 10 years back, we say asset-light model, right? Ola is the largest car company not owning a single car. Today, what is Ola doing? Yeah, they're manufacturing vehicles. So what happened 10 years? They are wrong or they are right? The problem is somebody named Elon Musk in US, 10 years back, his electric vehicle was suffering. He was a failure. Now he is a successful. That everybody in India copying EV. Because the guys in US now understand EV is a market. So there is quite a lot. There is somebody mentioned about EV. Right? So everybody is getting into the EV, right? Tomorrow somebody wakes up in US and say, found some success story, our guys will copy. And there is investors will come after. So I wouldn't probably pay too much attention to the VC model solving India's problem. Not now. So we need more local money need to come in. That's when India's problem will get solved, right? Because that's the other part. The last element on the women entrepreneurship side is as well is about the kind of exposure that they have, right? I was talking to Rupa about this NRLM, all this local investment. The training given to them is about pickle and popped, right? 80% of them are making pickle and popped. That's what we're just putting an initiative now. I've told the rural ministry that you need to talk to DST more, right? We're just putting the initiative now that we will expose the technologies developed in IITs and ICIRs and CSIR to the women in the villages, right? So that you just take the sugarcane machine developed in IIT Bombay and then help the farmer to make a jaggery. Instead of the farmer selling sugarcane, he will sell the jaggery. You run this machine. If you want to buy the machine, we will find a way to get you the machine. If you want to take the technology, make the machine yourself, we will incubate you. So all these elements that we are trying to that. So we'll just move the thought process beyond what is around. Because even our women program at NSRCL, even the modern women, the educated women, there are three categories I see a lot. One is about food. Because they have the young child, they have a problem in the way they are eating, then they start around that. So food is one part. Then one day the children growing up, the education is the second part. They start about the worrying about the education side, there is education the second. These two are the major category, right? So now we are pushing them about go beyond, right? We are just telling some of the 200 women who are doing, 80% doing roti pickle and then some saris, all that stuff. We said we'll expose to 30 technologies from IIT. You just the kitchen, this problem will go away, right? Because now even the working women come home, this guy will sit and say, give me a coffee. So this need to change, right? So I think we'll change. The next generation onwards will pick it up.
Thank you. But before that, let me go to other panelists, and then if we have time, we'll come back. Amir, so taking upon the education part, when we look at energy transition, what is the capacity of renewable energy, installed capacity, and what we are producing today is nothing compared to what we are envisaging, and even how we compare to China. Now, one study that we recently did in Jharkhand, when we were looking at energy transition and future of work, one thing that came out was, the government was planning to focus on skill development, because when transition is going to happen from coal to renewable energy, how we are going to skill or reskill, upskill the existing workforce or the future workforce to get absorbed. One thing that came out was almost 30-40% of 50% in some areas, some districts, were illiterate or less than secondary. Now, any skill development course requires at least secondary or above. So basically, we are creating a solution only for the 60% or 50% of the population or the potential workforce, but not the remaining 50%. And here the role of education also comes into being. The other thing is transition that happens, next generation and generation after that, they are going to be answerable to it. So how, of course, you are doing it, but how do you see overall within the country work happening in this domain? Because this is again a very, very important area. So one is what the what companies are doing for net zero and all those things, so that is separate. But in terms of bringing that consciousness and awareness and education, what is happening in India? Is it sufficient?
Well, thanks for that question. I think in terms of fundamentals around energy transition, things are reasonably clear. So we know what is to be done, and we know what are the end goals here. But there are a few elements that that are a little still evolving, and also a little wicked in terms of the problem setup. And I'll kind of pick up some elements from what Mahadev was also talking about, and Naga and Sucharita. For me, energy transition is not exactly how you have defined it. I think in my work and in the research that I do, I tend to conceptualize it a little differently. And I'll give you a few examples. I think for me, we should not get confused between a means to an end story. We should be very clear about end goals and what are the means that will be used in certain combinations to achieve those end goals. And I think we are missing the bus there. For example, collectively as a society, what are the goals that we should set for ourselves? And I'll give you a few examples. One is that all school-going children should be in school. and energy and all your resources should help in achieving that. That is the goal that we should strive for. Now, climate is playing havoc. Schools, for safety reasons, are closed. We lose a lot of learning, and therefore we lose the future. One day interruption means a lot of things get disbalanced. A person should be able to access health care no matter what. That is the person's right. A person should not end up dying because that person is not able to access health care. I think we should be clear about these things. That's the first. The second is that I think we should not be fascinated with closures in life or closures in innovation. We should create open systems, systems that allow for collaboration and systems that helps us build and not close. So Mahadev brings in something, Rohit brings in something, Ashish brings in something, and we solve a larger problem. I think that is very important, and that's why I attest and endorse Mahadev's point that we should be motivated not by profit, but we should be motivated by value creation in society. Everyone has a role. Businesses have to create value to sustain themselves, but whatever they do should be able to create value in society. It should enhance the value of the environmental stock out there, what Ashish is doing. And we don't have instruments to do this. We don't have a matrix system to be able to advocate for this and then do all the capital mobilization that Sucharita was trying. So that is what is desirable. So that's the second thing. And the third thing is, I think and that's why I started from the point of education, I think this idea of breaking a problem into multiple micro goals and to be able to establish a connection that what Mahadev is doing is helping us solve for poverty. Right? What Ashish is doing is helping us solve for quality of life. And the ability that we nurture for Ashish to take this product to a low-income settlement. That's what we need to create, and to create value. So in economics, there's this concept of productive capital. Capital should be productive, should be able to create value in the entire ecosystem, and that's what we are missing. Because there are many moving parts and we need people like Naga who can aggregate. We're not able to aggregate. Sucharita is also aggregating to be able to make a powerful statement and to demonstrate value in what she is trying to create. And that's very important. So I'll stop here.
Yeah.
Many elements
thank
to
you.
talk about.
Thank you. That was spoken through pure wisdom and the kind of academic rigor that you have. Thank you so much. Ashish, coming to you, because how do you influence consumer? You mentioned about air conditioning, right? Now, how do you get that messaging around consumers, influencing consumer behavior? 1.4 billion population, everyone needs to play a role, right? 8 billion on this earth, everyone is responsible. Everyone need to care for the earth. So how do we get to do that? We have products, we have solutions, but how do you actually channelize?
Okay, yeah, great question. So generally, I think in sustainability, there are a lot of things. People do a lot of things, and what we have realized that whatever product solutions we make in sustainability first has to be useful and sensible to the customer that we are reaching out to. Let me just give you an example with what we do. Now, when we try to optimize energy, save energy for our customer, if I go and pitch these things to a client in Saudi Arabia and UAE, where the unit cost of power is very, very low, it doesn't give them much incentive to, use our products, because this is already not paying much of energy bills. even you save me another 20%, what is going to do much? You know, I have energy at a very low cost, doesn't matter. But when I take this solution to a country like Italy, Switzerland, where the energy costs are almost 10 times more than any other country, I mean, the highest energy costs in the world are in these countries. There it makes a lot of sense when I go with these solutions and say, hey, I'm going to save 20% of your energy in your buildings, in your offices, in your schools, in all your settlements. This is where it becomes a lucrative, I would say, solutions for them. And there are high chances that my product would be more acceptable because its usability is very high. Just not sustainable, it also creates a value creation, which Mahadev talked about. You know, it creates a tangible value for people. So that's one. The second thing that I very strongly believe, and again I will go to Mahadev's example, is a product have to be built sustainably. It cannot be only used for sustainable purposes. So again, a small example, you know, you have plastic spoons, you can replace it with a steel spoon. But is it built sustainably? Is it built for that purpose? No, you are just replacing it whatever is available. But what Mahadev does is he builds a spoon out of something which is a waste. He builds it sustainably for a sustainable purpose. So when we design a product, we incorporate those things into a product. How do we build its sustainability, and what is its main motive? Its main motive is to, you know, create a value in the whole ecosystem. Yes. So that's, I think, that is one more thing. And when we do all this, the third very important point comes is how do we communicate that value to our clients? You know, at the end of the day, sustainability is a very loosely used word. You know, again, a lot of us talked about what people say and what people do. I always believe sustainability is a part of a policy. It should be a mindset. You know, it should be a mindset that yes, I want to do something. It should not always be towards a profitability. Unfortunately, it is towards how do I become sustainable and also save money, which again we spoke about. So I think from a company perspective, how the messaging, how do we talk to people about it, how do we explain to them, is pretty clear. If the message is clear, if our clients understand what we're trying to do beyond the commercial value, of course, how are we trying to change things? You know, I think what Mr. Ami talked about also was, you know, how we're looking at this point. How do we bring it to the lower level of places in settlements? Also, it makes a lot of sense. So I think this is where messaging is what I have seen is very vague around sustainability. What we have seen, and that's what we try to participate in events, these kinds, and all other events. We try to you know, write articles about it. We try to do a lot of things, reach our customers. We try to educate them. I would use the word educate. Currently, that's what we do. We actually go to our clients and say, hey, look, we don't want you to buy anything. You know, let us just tell you what we are doing, what you can do more. It's okay if you don't want to engage us. It's absolutely fine. But we just want to tell you where you can save more, where you can create more value for yourself. Then it's your choice what you want to do. So I think these kind of activity also help us to, you know, reach that kind of customer. I think these are top three things that comes to my mind.
Thank you. Rahul, very quickly, and before we go to the audience, and if we can extend the time by 5 more minutes, I hope that will be okay. So just to get audience question. Rahul, quickly, you know, I had 2 questions for you, but in the interest of time, I will just want you to tell us about, because we spoke about Is it audio? Huh. So what has been your journey? What are the challenges that you faced, or how did you overcome that?
From the mindset of like specific challenges.
So in terms of raising capital or getting that, you know, speaking to the investors or going to the investors or raising capital for the solution that you are building.
So yeah, so one of the things that we realized while we were raising capital is that I'll maybe give this journey from a different lens, that first round, as I guess Naga will also agree on this, is purely on promoters, like their background. And have they got some insight into, a unique insight into the industry. So that actually helped us to raise our first round. The subsequent round is purely based on traction, or like what we have been able to like deliver from our product, or have we found out, like there's a term which is now gaining a lot of popularity, product market fit. So in that whole journey of product market fit, where do we stand today? So I think if a company is able to figure that out, then they are able to raise funds pretty easily. So that's the 2 cents that I had from my side. The other thing is that what really helped us during our journey of raising funds and also in our product cycle is being very close to the customer. So while we are saying that, even we talked about that, yeah, there's enough, I would say, potential at the bottom of pyramid. So at least in our business model, we went over there, saw how they are actually using energy firsthand and how our solution can actually help them and what is the kind of value we can drive for them. So these 3 things I believe are helpful for anyone to raise funds. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for all the answers that I asked. And now, if we have questions from the audience.
And nobody doing nothing, and I'm confused. Before asking my question, before asking my question, again I will repeat. I'm nobody doing nothing, and I'm confused. But before asking my question, I would like to thanks the 12th Earth Care Award, this conference, and treasure of knowledge with all the panel members and lots of things to learn it. But why I am confused to that I am putting as a question. Last not functioning.
Your voice is good enough.
Check. So question here is, see, when we look at from left to right panelist, it's not working. Left to right panelist to mine, right? Lots of things with your experience and expertise, you have shared with us managing your experience of bottom line and up lines. The question here is, particularly India, okay? Just now I googled for accurate data. 1947 we had 300 million population in India. Today is close to 1500 million population. And a simple statistics, okay, you place a pair of larger amount, okay, the population rate is around 13% as of now.
Sir, sorry, but
My
in the
question
interest
is,
of time, if you can just
my
answer.
question here is, with the fast population rate, and we have no real economy policy made for the villages, I mean rural areas. The policies were made only for the urbans. Okay, and today it's not a country of 80% population in village. The fact is today, you have 35% population in villages. That is the fact. And that population is rotten, economically downward. So the question here is there is any collaborative efforts to work on the speed to meet the real goal of sustainability? Speed.
Okay.
Hope my question to
Okay.
academician will be clear.
Okay. Should we take 3 questions and then? Okay, we'll take 2 more questions. From here? Okay, we have one in the back, 2. Oh, there's a lot of questions. So,
Hi.
sir, just request everyone who are asking you questions, just be very, very brief and direct to the question. So that will really help.
The panelist here spoke about cash is king. I mean, enterprises want to make money out of sustainability as well. So is there a third angle where the regulation is not strong enough to penalize? The fear of penalties can also be a great motivator towards sustainability. What is your view?
Yeah. Good afternoon to all. Can I? Yes, sir. My simple question is, earlier, what are the products we are using that were recycled by the nature? But nowadays means in modern age, what products we are using that is not recycled by nature? For that, what is the solution, sir?
Okay, should we get to these 3 questions? Okay. Who would like to go for the first one? What we are doing for the rural speed?
Yeah, so the rural is, one is about the rural livelihood is lost, right? That's why there are a lot of migration happening. Understood, understood. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We are not going to, nobody, world is not going to meet the 2030 is not going to happen, that's for sure, right? So we supposed to do MDG, Million Development Goal in 2000 supposed to happen. We borrowed another 30 years. Now country is saying, give me another 30 years. So we are not going to probably meet the goal at all, yeah? So this is the problem on that one. And so the realization has come that we won't be able to put the 1.4 billion people into 100 cities, right? So we need to empower the rural area. So that is why I would just mention about the rural livelihood mission, what we're trying to do in terms of slow down the migration. Manrega proved even that small wages they're giving, people would rather be in their village than come and live in a slum. So that is what we are just leveraging that further about. All the examples I mentioned, if you listen to the first part, what I mentioned, that give a credit to the tribal. He's living a simple life. So that's a new way of doing the way that he's fine. So similarly, if you look at the weavers, right, they're proceeding in a sustainable fashion, right? Instead of just saying that, okay, poor weaver, please buy that, like at a Diwali discount for Khadi. We should come away with all that. It's a sustainable fashion, you have to pay premium. Crafts should not be affordable to middle class. If it is affordable to middle class, somebody is living in poverty. So that's what the effort is happening about, do a premium market, especially the European, they want to buy sustainable fashion, so that the weavers are out of poverty, right? So these are all the elements that are multiple startups are working in rural areas. So the rural livelihood should be improved so that the migration slows down. Otherwise, either they come to slum or they become extremists. So that is clear on many of these activities. So now we need to further that. So this NRLM, last time what World Bank told me is that Karnataka alone, they've trained 30 lakh women entrepreneurs in Karnataka villages. So that's the example I mentioned, right? What these women are doing in there. So now we are accelerating that further, that wherever you are in that village, can you probably build a different kind of business? What Gandhi envisioned about the self-reliant villages so that economy stays. The example I gave is that don't sell the jaggery, sell the sugar, don't sell the sugar cane, sell the jaggery. Right? A women entrepreneur could, we are doing in Mandya a project. IIT Bombay developed a technology, put it on the tractor, you take it to the field. So you can just put a sugar cane this side, jaggery comes. So these are all the innovations coming up across the country. Yes, a lot need to be done, but the mindset is there about the youth should be given technologies in the villages because they hate what their fathers did. That put them in poverty. That's why they're migrating into the city. But during the pandemic, one good thing happened where I mentioned Bharat saying bye to India. A lot of people went back to villages. Not many came back. That's why all the drivers were in shortage in Bangalore. Right? So this is where that opportunity is coming. We are pushing them technologies to them so that you value add. Don't sell the tomato, sell ketchup. Don't sell sugarcane, sell jaggery. So that they are involved in making the produce. It'll take time, but the mindset change is happening. So we have just out of the way saying that we're going to put everybody, put them in cities like US has done. Right? I lived in Atlanta, there are 14 lanes, still traffic problem. Where will you put 14 lanes in Bangalore? So people have realized that. So we need to improve the rural livelihood so that we have it across, inclusive development happens across the country, across the states, instead of few pockets in metros alone.
Yeah, can I ask you a question, please?
I think the question was, why can't government impose regulations to penalize industries to switch to sustainable alternatives, even if there is no cash benefit of switching, right? I'll be very honest, sir. My answer for this would be very different. It was 5 years ago, right? First 6 years, I thought build a sustainable material and by itself it will be sustainable. Whereas I got it wrong that first, for a business to sustain, it has to be cash positive, right? Then we can do all the sustainable things, right? And regulations are there definitely from two dimensions. One is to incentivize companies through subsidies to shift to something sustainable, where there are issues or challenges, whether it is supply chain issues, whether it is cost issues and stuff. or penalize companies for not switching. Penalizing is very difficult, right? And especially in emerging markets such as in India, this penalization always works at the lower end of the pyramid, not at the upper end of the pyramid. And when we talk about companies, right, we all need to understand, appreciate companies have a huge responsibility to return money to their shareholders, investors, and that's only in the form of cash. If they are able to sustain, then they can do all the sustainable solutions. And when we try to penalize, a government needs to really understand multidisciplinary impact of that penalization, right? Without understanding that, just because an emerging or developed economy in US or Europe, they implemented a policy, applying it to India can be completely counterproductive, absolutely counterproductive. And understanding that and taking the right measures, I think will take time. I always tell people, we've taken 30, 40 years or 50, 100 years to get to where we are. Don't apply reverse brake or just switch the gears abruptly. Take time. It's a slow process of switching to sustainable alternatives. I am against penalization as an individual, as a person. More incentives, awareness and encouragement should be in the system. And like Ashish mentioned, if we build solutions for sustainability, which is self-sustaining, then there is no question of regulatory requirements also. Thank you.
Thank you, Mahadev. Amir, would you take the third question?
So just playing my role as an academic. So see, one of the problem, and there's a Turkish economist, Dani Rodrik, he teaches at Harvard. And he started writing about 20 years back about social enterprises, etc. And one of the things that he was trying to figure out was that, okay, why are in certain places like San Francisco and all, certain kinds of institutions flourishing, etc. And why are some institutions failing it? One of the things that he mentions in his lot of work around entrepreneurship was that price discovery is a difficult task. And unless you do, you'll not be able to discover. And you have to discover as you introduce the product into the market. Timing may be wrong, your product will not be picked up, quality. So there's this concept of price which is very dynamic. And it has to internalize everything inside, right? We have not got the pricing for nature right. That's the basic problem. Partha Dasgupta, a famous Indian economist who lives in London, has been talking about for the last 50 years that we have to account for nature. There's this classical definition between ecologists and economists. Economists say that, look, you can substitute natural capital with other kinds of capital, and ecologists believe that you cannot substitute natural capital. You have to ensure that its stock remains constant. Unless we figure out a mechanism through which we start accounting for all what nature does and all what nature produces, we'll not be able to develop a fairly recognized monetizable value for that. Until then, we'll not be able to support organizations, what Sucharita is doing. A lot of women, a lot of livelihoods getting created through nature, but you're earning peanuts. You don't even get market access. And they are trying to fix that problem. We are talking a lot about the digital economy, the platform economy. Do some research and find out women are struggling to access platforms because private companies have no gender intentional policies. They don't go and support these organizations to list. Price barriers are too high. So we need to think about pricing very, very carefully. And we have to figure out mechanisms through which we reflect what the true value of something which we are doing is. Don't blame them. They are discovering. Every day they are discovering. And they are doing their best.
Thank you. There was one more question on recycling. If we can have a quick answer to that.
I think The question was, earlier there was recycling by nature and now it is not recycled by nature. Is that, sorry, could you please? Yeah. Can I? Yeah. So, I mean, there are quite a few products that are emerging where you might be seeing the labels compostable, biodegradable, and stuff like that. Quite honestly, applying principles of circular economy, we should leave nature by itself, and we have to handle the resources that are within the human ecosystem in our circulation, not mixing them, right? Now the trees shred leaves, they go back to nature, that is fine, that's a natural process. We extract fossil-based material, make carry bags with like 10 kgs carbon emission, 20 kgs carbon emission per kg of bags, and then throw back into nature. The resource recovery is like fraction of what you are producing. There is no question of returning the carbon emission that has happened in the process. The best process is to let the nature by itself for the natural recovery process, and the resources that are circulated within the human ecosystem should be circulated continuously as much as possible instead of just interfering and putting it back into nature. That's something that we've understood the hard way, and scientifically as well, if you do the life cycle assessment from cradle to grave, understanding whether it makes sense to make products which are easy to degrade versus recycled within our ecosystem, you will find that recycling within our ecosystem will be a lot more meaningful. Thank you. Sir, you also to add as well.
Thank you. Naga, you want to add anything?
I just want to give one last comment, right? The lot of question comes around that, put the blame on someone else, right? Put it on corporate, put it on government and all that, but we are responsible, right? 75% of the greenhouse gases emission will be controlled if each one of us think twice about what am I buying, how am I using it, how am I disposing it. This is a Harvard case study, right? It tells that the power is in our hand. The consumer need to change. So what we wear, roti kapda makan, what we eat, what we wear, where are we living, it has to be sustainable. If we do not look at that, the 2030 will become 2050, nothing will change. Because we have to change, because as many of you mentioned, right, we evolve. Look at my father-in-law has 4 shirts, that's all. How many I have? How many my children are having? This is what the thing that we need to start looking about everything we buy. So should I buy like 10 t-shirts and buy 2 for free from Amazon, or buy 1 handloom khadi kurta? Let it fade, right? Until it fades out, I'll use it as much as possible. So these are all the changes that we need. Like thanks to the TikTok, all that, your DP need to change every day, right? We ended up buying fast fashion, put it that up. So individual social responsibility is what more needed than... Yes. Yeah. So I'm not telling go to the caves. Yeah.
Worldwide, and compare it with the mother nature by way of floods, hurricanes, storms, rains coming in all over the globe, I think all the time and effort and money spent on these things are going into black hole.
Is that a question, sir, or is that an opinion?
I am asking. No, I am saying, don't you think it is going into the black hole? That is why you are not finding any investments. You are not finding any funds for running these, or as some of these panelists have talked about, that there is not much investments coming from here, but they are coming only from US.
Okay, so with all due respect,
I'm sorry, it's a hard question.
No.
It's a simple one, very hard question.
I mentioned there are certain questions for which we have answers. There are certain questions for which no one has answers. This is one of those questions, and we will not get into that at this moment, because every one of us need to I'm absolutely sorry. There are some raised hand, but what I'm going to do is, we have already crossed the time. We will have, yes, that's what I'm saying. We will have those questions offline, during the lunch break. Let us talk more, let us interact. Some of us will be in hurry to go back to airport, but at least, people who can stay back can interact and have, discussions around those. But I would like to thank each of my panelists here for the time, for the kind of knowledge that they shared. Thank you so much. This was a very, very interesting panel and learned a lot from you all. Once again, thank you very much. And thank you, Rupa, Times of India. Thank you.
Where we also got to see and explore diverse perspectives from such eminent personalities such as all of you. So thank you very much to every panelist here. We would now like to thank you and felicitate each one of you for having been here with us. And to do the honors, I'd like to invite once again on stage Rupa Davani. A loud round of applause once again for her, please. Start by thanking Rahul Lamba. We also have with us Mahadev Chikanna. Thank you, Dr. Amir, for also being here with us today. Also thanking Mr. Charita for all the also thanking Mr. Nagaraja Prakasan. Round of applause please for our moderator as well. Thank you once again, ladies and gentlemen. As we understand, you might have a lot many more questions to come. Please do feel free to ask them to each one of our panelists at the break outside. Also, ladies and gentlemen, moving ahead, coming to the last leg of our event, I request each one of you to kindly please remain seated. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I would also like to take this opportunity to invite yet another young change maker who's present here amongst us. But before that, I'd request all of you to kindly take your seats and stay with us for the last leg of our event. And once everyone's seated, we would like to proceed with the event. Invite on stage yet another young change maker who is also the recipient of the Earth Care Awards to share his growth story with us. Today we have with us Nikki Kumar Jha, co-founder at Saptakrishi. Before inviting him on stage, a few words about him if I may. He's a round-the-clock innovator with expertise in renewable energy, particularly solar, medical electronics, IoT, agri-tech, healthcare tech, and machine learning. He has won multiple international awards, including the 11th Earth Care Award this year. Please let's welcome Nikki to know more about his work and his journey as a climate change warrior. Definitely with your round of applause, please.
Food loss is a pervasive global issue, significantly impacting small and marginal farmers as well as street vendors in the fruit and vegetable supply chain. Inadequate storage and transport solutions burden these key contributors, leading to substantial losses. Addressing these crises, 27-year-old Nikki Kumar Jha founded Saptakrishi in 2019.
फल और सब्जियों की बर्बादी एक बहुत ही बड़ी समस्या है और ये जो बर्बादी है ये एम्प्लीफाई हो जाता है छोटे किसान, सीमांत किसान, स्ट्रीट हॉकर्स के लेवल पर, क्योंकि उनके पास कुछ भी ऐसा सुचारू व्यवस्था नहीं है जिसमें कि वो अपने फल और सब्जी को रख सकें। तो इसी समस्या को देखते हुए हमने सब्जी कोठी नाम के एक स्टोरेज को विकसित किया।
We tried to play with a concept called as microclimating, and we varied the humidity level and dissociated the gas which is getting formed through our ozone generator.
Leveraging IoT and controlled microclimates concept, this decentralized and cost-efficient system prolongs the freshness of fruits and vegetables.
पहले लगाते थे तो खराब हो जाती थी, अब खराब नहीं होती, फेंकना नहीं पड़ता है। अब इससे मिलने से हमारा लाभ होता है, फायदा होता है। डेली 300-400 रुपये बच जाता है।
ये पूरी की पूरी जो सब्जी कोठी है ग्रीन एनर्जी से संचालित है। सिर्फ कुछ लीटर पानी और 20 वाट बिजली की आवश्यकता होती है।
With a mission to revolutionize the agricultural landscape by providing innovative and affordable solutions, this young innovator, Nikki Kumar Jha, emerges as a catalyst of change.
It's not the time to preach sustainability, it's the time to practice sustainability. हार नहीं मानूंगा, रार नहीं ठानूंगा, काल के कपाल पर लिखता मिटाता हूँ, गीत नया गाता हूँ, गीत नया गाता हूँ।
Namaste, I am Nikki Kumar Jha. Marginal farmers and 2,500 women, especially from the street hawkers community. Let me take you to my village. This picture, I bring it you from my village. Each time I see this picture, I get a goosebump. She's Hema Devi. You look at her, she's sweating and selling fruits and vegetables in the crouching sun. It's 2 p.m. in the afternoon. She, along with her fruit and vegetable, is getting dehydrated. And once the fruits and vegetable gets dehydrated, it has no cost. And ultimately, in the evening, she has to throw all the fruits and vegetables on the street and she has to go home. And let me tell you, she brings this fruit and vegetable in this wrap on her head, walking 14 kilometers. And at evening, what is that? 25% is going to be get waste. Let me tell you that it's not only about the economical losses to these small marginal farmers like Hema Devi. Let me surprise you with one fact. Just to grow one of this brinjal, you need 35 to 40 liters of water. And for God's sake, in India, these all things are done on a potable water. Forget that. If you talk about the manpower losses, just imagine the amount of manpower these people has put in to grow these fruits and vegetables. They just wake up early in the morning and goes to field and the crouching sun, they work and then you get these fruits and vegetables. If these all doesn't sensitize you, let it be a problem of somewhere in Bhagalpur, Bihar, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, you are wrong. You are wrong because once these fruits and vegetables will get perished, it will emit a gas called methane, which has 25 times more global warming potency than carbon dioxide. This reminds me 2 lines from Dinkar कि समर शेष है नहीं पाप का भागी केवल व्याध जो तटस्थ है समय लिखेगा उनके भी अपराध जो तटस्थ है समय लिखेगा उनके भी अपराध. To solve that complex problem, we have come up with a solution called Sabji Kothi. Sabji Kothi is one of its kind and only of its kind storage that doesn't require any kind of refrigeration. We said no to refrigeration, any kind of chemical or preservative to extend the shelf life of fruits and vegetables anywhere between 3 to 30 days. We have developed this Sabji Kothi and then we applied for GSW and Times of India Earth Care Award, and luckily and fortunately we won that award. And with going forward with this award, what we have done is that we have made this Sabji Kothi cart model. And this is the impact this award has bring to me. And this Sabji Koti, because at that point of time, what it was happening that Sabji Koti is solving the problem of small marginal farmer, but with street hawkers, what it was happening, because you know how traffic moves in our country. So what people were doing, street hawkers, that they were putting this Sabji Koti, which is primarily made of fabric storage, they're putting on the 4 wheels, cart, and they were moving. Because of the close traffic movement, the fabric was getting torn out. So, luckily I got this award, and then I built this Sabji Koti cart model that is exclusively designed for street hawkers. And then we have this Sabji Koti e-cart model, which is used for short distance delivery of fruits and vegetables. And now we have able to make Sabji Koti Jumbo. This is a 3,000 kg storage, and that is getting to be deployed into villages, and without any refrigeration, without any chemical, or without any preservative, farmers are preserving their fruits and vegetables. So there was a huge market gap between no storage and cold storage. Either there was cold storage or there was no storage. So we perfectly came up with my idea from my own community and tried to bridge that gap. This is the experimental results. This is the experimental results. You can see, like, inside and outside the Sabji Koti, tomato for 10 days, spinach for 5 days, beans, capsicum, and so on. We have generated patent, trademarks, and all. So this is and recently we got a huge hub when our Honorable Prime Minister tweeted about our solution, and we were featured on Shark Tank India. And also we are the winner of prestigious awards, just to count a few, like Earth Care Award, Solved Champion from United Nations, and Climate Solver from WWF India. What promise we make to our customer? What promise is that at least increase in income by 150%. At least increase in income by 150%, reduction in wastage by more than 30%, and also reduced energy consumption by more than 80 to 90%, and also it comes up with a health benefit to customer, like us, the general people who goes and buys vegetable, because your vegetable is stored in a hygienic place where there is no interaction with dust and pathogens, and also it's getting a shelf life. So it provides health benefits to customers as well. But what promise we make to our Mother Earth? What promise we make to our Mother Earth is that every single deployment mitigate up to 1276.82 kg of CO2, which is equivalent to cultivating 60 full-grown trees. And this, gentlemen, is not my data. This data, we got it from WWF India, and then we got the Climate Solver Award for this. So every single rupee you spend on Sabji Koti, you get an environmental return of 20 rupee and societal return of 5 rupees. I'm a collaborative person. Like any other startup, my vision is also to become a unicorn, but with my own metrics of impacting 1 billion life. The day I will impact 1 billion life, we will declare our startup as a unicorn. But still we did a competitive analysis, and that in terms of portability and affordability, we are on the prime segment. You can look at it here. We have been deploying this into more than 10 states, more than 15,000 life impacted. We work with B2B model, B2C model, B2B2C models, and this is an amazing team without whom I can't be anywhere. People rush me like biotechnologist, Professor J. Ram Kumar, Anil Singhal, many more. But let me show you these all pictures. This picture gives me a better sleep. You can look at her. These ladies doesn't have a formal roof on their head, but they have Sabji Koti. This is the impact which we are creating. These street hawker women's community, we have deployed into the lens and press, we have deployed in Northeast, we have deployed in Odisha's villages, and where not. And let me tell you the story for this woman. On a day, I get a call from this woman that I have saved 7,000 rupees. I have saved 7,000 rupees from 10 months. I have heard somewhere about Sabji Koti. Can you give me Sabji Koti? I was like amazed. This woman doesn't have a home. This is only her home below the tree. She doesn't have a home. And when she calls me, that I was speechless. And believe me, just to have that sense of gratitude, okay, she is the buyer of Sabji Koti. I just took 1,000 rupees, given them the storage, and from the rest amount, we bought her fruits and vegetables and crates, and now she is earning 170% more every day. And this is the impact we are proud of. This is the impact we are proud of. And let me tell you, She is a visually impaired lady. She has only one eye vision, and that too, not much. I will end this story with the Manoj, the son of Hema Devi, which I started the story. We lost Hema Devi in COVID, but her son Manoj is using our storage, going door to door, sells sabji in Sabji Koti and making the profit. Thank you. We are Team Saptakrisi.
Check. Thank you very much, Nikki. I must say it's truly, truly inspiring, everything that you have done, especially with Sabji Koti. Thank you for being here with us. I request you kindly to come back onto this stage, as we would like to thank you for being here with us today and felicitate you. And to do the honors, once again, we have Rupa Devane. A loud round of applause, please, for Nikki Kumar Jha for sharing with us his inspiring journey and his work with Sabji Koti. I'm sure we can do much better. And the Times of India and all our partners to be a part of this discussion that has set the tone for the 12th edition Earth Care Awards. And to all of you lovely people who have joined us this morning, thank you very much for being here with us. Please do join us for lunch and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you very much.
Namaste, I am Nikki Kumar Jha. I am one of the proud winner of 11th Earth Care Award by GSW Foundation and Times of India. I would love to say that about this award is that this was one of the award that okay, I need to cut. Namaste, I am Nikki Kumar Jha. I am one of the proud winner of this 11th Earth Care Award. I am the co-founder of Saptakrisi Scientific Private Limited. At Saptakrisi, we make Sabji Koti, which is one of the affordable storage to extend the shelf life of fruits and vegetables anywhere between 3 to 30 days without using any kind of refrigeration or chemical or preservative. It only needs few liters of water and 20 watt of power, the same power which your phone requires to charge. Let me tell you a story. Once we have the storage that was made up of fabric, and what people used to do is that people keep that storage, especially the street hawker used to keep that storage on the 4-cart wheel and they try to move. And then because of the close traffic in our country, that fabric storage was getting torn. So at that point of time, I was getting a lot of feedback that while moving, the fabric is getting torn. And at that point of time, my company was not that financially good that I can make a new product design from scratch. Then it comes the wonder with the 11th Earth Care Award. We won that 11th Earth Care Award and we have invested that money in creating the Sabji Koti cart model. The Sabji Koti cart model, it is a model especially designed for street hawkers. Especially designed for street hawkers who sells fruits and vegetables going door to door or sells vegetables in mandi. So that if you look at that Sabji Koti cart model, you will see that there is a storage that accommodates 200 kg of fruits and vegetables, and then you have a display. And with the display option, you have displayed fruits and vegetables on top of it and they can sell it. So with this Sabji Koti cart, we have been able to impact many street hawkers' life. So what I want to say to every of the youth, whosoever is working in environmentalism domain or into sustainability, please come forward, apply to this type of award. It's not only the money which you get, it's also the hand-holding support from Times of India, from GSW Foundation, which help us immensely in achieving our scale. So I would love to say that, please come forward, and a special message from my side to all my youth friends is that it's not the time to preach sustainability, it's the time to practice sustainability. Thank you. I am Nikki Kumar Jha. Namaste.